Hello, everybody. I am Deepak, and today I am going to discuss with you, is COVID vaccine effective? The short answer is yes. This controversy has aroused, especially with the death of 84-year-old four-star general, first African American Secretary of the State, Colin Powell. He was 84-year-old, fully vaccinated, and he was about to get the third shot of COVID booster shot, which is recommended in those who are over 65 or those who are immunocompromised. He fell sick just about a week ago or 8 days ago and could not get the booster shot and went to the hospital because of the COVID-19 infection. And eventually, on Monday, that is yesterday, on 10/19, he succumbed to COVID infection. Unfortunately, for him, uh, this became a reality because he was immunocompromised. People were questioning as soon as he died that, oh, he was fully vaccinated, therefore the vaccine is not necessary or is not effective. Even though he had two shots, he still died. But Mr. Powell was 84-year-old African American, and he had a blood cancer, a disease called multiple myeloma, which is being treated with intravenous chemotherapy, with chemotherapy agents like Darzalex, and there are others. So his body was immunocompromised. He also was being treated for early stage of Parkinson disease, and he also has been treated in the past for prostate cancer. So he was not a normal, young, healthy person. And it is known that in these patients, the level of immunity may not develop adequately after full vaccination, and the level of immunity may decrease faster than younger people. I'll have more information about this later on. So, as I mentioned, he died from this COVID complication. It is not known whether he had developed a severe pneumonia or had developed multiple organ failure, or he had developed a respiratory condition we call as ARDS, or adult respiratory distress syndrome, where the lung is full of liquid or fluid so that oxygenation does not happen, and these patients are being put on ventilator, and the mortality in those patients is very high. Mr. Powell's parents uh, immigrated to USA from Jamaica. He was born in New York City. He had a long, distinguished career in the military. He became four-star general. He was a Republican lifelong. But after the January 6th riot this year, he quit the Republican Party and became an independent. In 2008 and 2012, he endorsed Barack Obama for presidency. Also, he endorsed Hillary Clinton in 2016, even though he was not happy with Hillary Clinton's performance in Benghazi, where four Americans, including the ambassador, died from attack on the embassy. Ambassador had requested for higher security presence, but this was declined by then Secretary of the State Hillary Clinton. And also he had warned her not to use BlackBerry personal for email for the business purpose. But still he endorsed her. And he was strongly against Donald Trump to become president because he said that he was really against the immigrants to come to America. His immigration policies were terrible. He felt that he was a national disgrace. He even told the news organization, television stations, etc., not to give too much importance to Mr. Trump, but they did not listen to him because the Trump would inflame and that would increase their viewership. So why did Mr. Powell died from COVID in spite of being vaccinated fully? Apparently he received second shot of Pfizer vaccine in February and was due for another shot, but before he could go get it, he developed COVID infection. Both the Pfizer and Moderna vaccine are 90 to 95%, 96% effective, and they both approved for fighting the COVID infection. The vaccines are never 100% effective. The companies have never said that they are 100% effective. There will be some percentage of people who will not be protected, and that number is higher in those who are immunocompromised. Even the smallpox vaccine and other vaccines in the past have not been 100% effective. But smallpox and polio were eradicated because of the mass immunization all over the world. So even in a normal healthy person, if they have received 2 shots of COVID vaccine, the immunity starts waning or decreases after 6 to 8 months. For Pfizer vaccine, it decreases to around 60%, and for Moderna, it decreases around 65%. This is not statistically different, but Moderna vaccine immunity lasts a little longer than the Pfizer. So, even for healthy people who are 65 and above, the CDC is recommending a third shot or a booster shot. But those who are immunocompromised, they definitely need a booster shot, even if they are younger than 65. Who are immunocompromised? Those who are over 65 and in poor health, those who are nursing home residents, frontline workers who are at a high risk of acquiring infection. Cancer patients often are on IV chemotherapy, so they are immunocompromised. Also, those who have been receiving high-dose steroid or a long-term steroid reduces the immunity. Transplant patients are on anti-rejection medication for life, so their immunity is low. HIV patients, and there are certain rare conditions where people have low level of antibody. Those who are on hemo or peritoneal dialysis, those who are overweight, those who have uncontrolled diabetes, blacks, Hispanics, all these are at a higher risk of developing COVID infection. In patients who are immunocompromised, as I mentioned before, the immunity does not develop as strong and may not last that longer. Studies have shown that older patients in the nursing home who are usually over the age of 80, 85, only 45% achieved adequate immunity when fully vaccinated. And for some reason, the immunity is slightly lower in Pfizer vaccine compared to Moderna. So, immunocompromised patient and older patients in nursing home may have lower levels of helper T cells, which normally help to improve the immunity. Newer studies have also shown that the booster shot or the third shot is very helpful to boost the immunity. So it is very important that those who have taken two shots and over 65 or immunocompromised, they should not wait for the booster shot. Look what happened to Mr. Powell. Unfortunately, he was just few days late from getting the third shot, and this would not have happened to him. So please don't wait. If you have received the second shot of COVID vaccine in February or March, you better go get your shot for the third one, the booster shot, so that your immunity level goes up further and you will be protected for next several months. So as I mentioned before, Mr. Powell had multiple myeloma. He was on chemotherapy and he was given probably a drug like Darzalex or Velcade and possibly IV steroids like Decadron, etc., which all reduce the immunity. His risk factors were high. He was older. He was African American. So all these are reasons why he developed COVID infection. That does not mean that the vaccine is not effective. There are some Republicans and there are some anchors in the Fox News, Tucker Carlson, and some others, who are spreading terrible message to people that, hey, look, Mr. Powell died after 2 shots. That means vaccine is not effective. Not true. Not true at all, by any means. In USA, 44.8 million people have developed COVID infection. And as of this week, 772,000. So almost 3/4 of a million people have died from COVID infection. But the death rate in those who are fully vaccinated is very low, about 0.02% or less. Unvaccinated adults make up almost 99.9% of people dying from COVID infection at present. They are 12 times more likely to develop infections that is serious and being admitted to the hospital and likely to die. So those people are spreading these rumors that vaccine does not work. They do not understand science. Nobody has ever said that vaccine is 100%. Never. It has never been. None of the medications even we use are 100% effective. Antibiotic can work in some, may not work in others. Chemotherapy work in some, may not work in others. So medicine has not developed something that is 100% effective, almost always effective. No, not true. So these people are saying hurtful things also. There is a House representative from Florida, Mr. Getz. He said hurtful words to Mr. Powell. He said that the breakthrough infections after 2 shots of COVID vaccine has killed more Americans than the weapons of mass destruction, WMD. He was actually insulting Mr. Colin Powell because Colin Powell went to UN Assembly to explain why Iraq should be invaded because Saddam Hussein had weapons of mass destruction. It turned out that there were no weapons of mass destruction, and therefore Mr. Powell was blamed by Iraqis and many in Republican Party for causing this war. And Iraqis blame him for this never-ending war, which killed many thousands and thousands of innocent civilians. Mr. Powell actually apologized and he said it was his mistake because he followed the intelligence information given to him by various intelligence agency, but he did not have enough time to study that information in detail. This Mr. Getz is actually under investigation by Justice Department for allegedly having sex with 17-year-old minor and also using campaign money for that purpose. Now, let's talk about vaccination. The highest number of unvaccinated in USA are in the age group of 30 to 49, about 48%. Then 18 to 29 age group, and then 50 to 64 age group. Only 8% or even less patients who are over 65 are not fully vaccinated. Amongst those who are not vaccinated, 49% are Republicans and 29% are Democrats. Amongst absolute deniers of vaccine, 67% are Republicans. There is a third group that is wait and see type of groups. They will say, oh, we'll wait. We'll see what goes on, how the vaccine is, effective, how much it's effective, what the complications are, etc. So they wait and see. So these are equally divided amongst white and blacks and amongst Republicans and Democrats. The Fox News anchors have raised the question, but the Fox company has mandated vaccination is a must, compulsory for all the employees. So I don't understand their spreading this type of rumor and false information. So because of all these doubters, at present there is a vaccination drop-off in America. There is so much vaccine available. Myself and my wife, we took the third shot. There were no lines. Vaccine was available easily, no charge. We had no complication after the third shot. So United States at present is stuck at 57.5% are vaccinated, 42.5% are not vaccinated. So if this trend continues, we'll never achieve the herd immunity. The certain countries like Chile, Portugal, Singapore, Spain, even China and Canada and Australia have much higher rate of vaccination, between 75 and 86%. United States is stuck at 57.5% because of these vaccine deniers. Now, patients who have rheumatoid arthritis, ulcerative colitis, Crohn's disease, psoriasis, ankylosing spondylitis, etc., it was believed that they would develop more COVID infection, but they did not, because they are on drugs like Humira, Enbrel, Remicade, Simponi, etc. And these drugs are called TNF blockers or tumor necrosis factor blockers. So they seem to protect patients against severe COVID infection. And even if they get infection, it is mild. And also if they get COVID infection, their disease like rheumatoid arthritis, etc., does not flare up. So to summarize, COVID vaccine is very effective. And those who are healthy, its efficacy is 95%. But efficacy does wane after 6 to 8 months. This rate of effectiveness is lower in those who are immunocompromised, as they do not generate adequate immunity, and also the level of immunity decreases faster in them. Therefore, they definitely need a booster shot very quickly. They should not wait. So my advice is that get vaccinated. At least 80 to 85% of the US population need to get vaccinated in order to eradicate this COVID-19, like we eliminated polio and smallpox. So take a booster shot, or the third shot if you are 65 and above, or if you are immunocompromised. And this is the recommendation from CDC. There will be some more recommendation in the future. The bottom line, vaccine does work even against this virulent Delta variant, but no vaccine is 100% effective. There will be some unfortunate immunocompromised individual who may succumb to COVID infection, even if they are fully vaccinated. That is unavoidable. But at present, I want you to remember that 99.9% of the people who are dying from COVID are the ones who are not vaccinated. So I hope this would clarify some of the misunderstanding that is being spread by some people in the press, and I have no idea what is their motive. Their motive should be to educate everybody. And I hope that you will think about this and tell your friends, if they are not vaccinated, to get vaccinated. Thank you very much for listening. I am Deepak.